In this video, we're going to review how to design the proposed profile, but first we need to take a look at getting our existing profile. And so we have this terrain model referenced into our plan view design. And if I select on that terrain, one of the icons there is to either set or clear the active terrain model. And I have already set this to the active terrain model surface. So now when we select our geometry and go to the Open Profile model from the context toolbar, I'm going to select down in my View 2, and that will then show us our active surface. Now if we wanted our existing ground to be the active profile for that baseline, I could simply select the existing ground and choose Set as Active Profile. But in our case, we actually want to design a proposed profile, and you'll see by the directional arrows we're starting coming off of our main line. And so if I come over to this particular area, you'll see the pavement slope coming off of there. And so what I'm going to do is under our vertical geometry tools, you can get to them here. Some of the more commonly used ones are also located here in this drop down. But we're going to select the line between points. And I'm just going to come over here and pick along my pavement point just to kind of establish a tangential location. And I'm going to use my arrow key and I'm going to lock in a -2% slope. So -2, enter. And now you'll see that I'm dragging that particular tangent down. And I'm just going to use my arrow key again and tab over, and let's just put in about 250 feet there, and we'll accept that. So we have our tangent coming off of our main line. I'm going to continue in that command, so I'm going to allow AccuSnap to go to the middle here. And at any point I can always turn on Civil AccuDraw and get additional information here if I want to. For example, I'm doing station and elevation mode right now. I can select delta Z or profile offset or slope, for example, and get that format. And so I can come in here and let's say that I wanted to go kind of just pencil in a profile here in this location. I'm going to lock in, let's say 1,050 feet, and then I'm going to tab down to my slope, and I'm going to do about 2.2% there. And so we'll lock that in, and then I'm going to do one more tangent here, and we're going to come off the end of that, and I'm going to go ahead and shut off AccuDraw. I just want to snap essentially to the end of my ground line. So if I come over here and allow this to rest in this location and accept that. And so now we have 3 tangents roughed in. Again, we're not writing this profile back to the GPK just yet. We will when we give it an actual name. And so now what we want to do is we want to insert curves. Well, if you have your design standard set, you're going to know what your minimum curve is going to be. And so I'm going to come in and pick our 6% 2-lane 45 miles per hour based on stopping sight distance, and we're going to make that our active design standard. And so now I'm going to come back to my vertical profile commands, and in these commands we have several different options here to select or to place curves between elements. And so I'm going to come over here to our task, and what we want to do is to place a parabola between elements. And what this is going to do, it's going to fill in our vertical curve parameters based on the design standards that we have active. And so it's going to prompt us for the location of the first element or our first tangent, and then our second one. And then we have to pick the solution. So if I window over here, you're going to see that we're going to be in the solution 2. And you can see right now it's putting in a default length of 331.8 or vertical curve parameter 79. I'm going to go ahead and accept that. And then we'll make adjustments later to nice round numbers if we desire to. And then we'll do our second curve. And this is going to be our crest curve. And so on our crest curve, we're going to have different parameters obviously than we would on our sag curve. And we'll turn both of those. So now let's go ahead and complex this profile, which will save it back to the GPK file. And so we'll come back to Profile Complex by Elements, and we're going to make this automatic, and I'm going to give this a name. I'll just call this Side Road PR. And then if we wanted to choose an element template for a different color, we can. I don't have a need for that. And so I'm going to locate my first element. And again, make sure you to the far left of your first tangent and then allow that to complex. And now that profile is going to be written back to the GPK file. Now let's go ahead and adjust these to nice round curve lengths. So I'm going to go 335. And then on this one, I'm going to go ahead and adjust this curve length to 250. Enter that and allow that then to adjust. And so if we come now to coordinate geometry and we go to look at Navigator, we should then have that profile stored for us called Side Road PR. And if we take a look at that, even the curve lengths that we just adjusted are now going to be in place. So you can see the links there that we put in, for example, nice round numbers. Now the last thing we want to do before we leave the profile view is we want to make sure that it is our active profile. And so if we come over here and select this, you want to hit that second icon to set that as the active profile for that particular alignment. And then now we're ready at this point to proceed to building a corridor or roadway design. So that's how we essentially enable the activation of our existing ground profile simply by making our terrain model the active surface. And then we open the profile model of the geometry, design our profile, and then set that profile active. And this profile is considered a child of the horizontal geometry. Now the nice thing is I can come in here and design as many alternate profiles as I want to, set one of those profiles active because you can only have one active profile per horizontal baseline at a time, and review those different alternatives. You can also come in and here and design special ditch profiles along your baseline and target those with in conditions through the use of point controls. So that's how we deal with using our design standards and establishing our existing and our proposed ground profiles.